Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I just finished a show called Tower of God. It's a Crunchyroll exclusive, and I think it's got the potential to be one of my favorite animes, so let's talk about it. So, Tower of God is a Crunchyroll exclusive. It is adapted from a Korean manhwa or a webtoon by this guy named SIU. You can read this webtoon on webtoons.com, I think. And Crunchyroll just adapted this show, and they actually just finished season 1. I don't know if there's an announcement for season 2, but I just finished the show, and I just wanted to get my thoughts about it because the ending of the show made me so hooked that I started to read this webtoon, and I've read about 100 to 200 chapters in about 3 days. I have been binging this because it is so good, and I want to talk about the show before I make a video about the webtoon. The show, season 1, is basically about this boy named the 25th BAM, and he has this girl in his life named Rachel, and he really cares about her, and there's this thing called the Tower of God. When you climb this tower, you basically get any desire that you want fulfilled. Rachel leaves to go climb this tower, and Bam goes to follow her. That's all I'll say about the first episode. This show is not something that it might not hook you in the first episode, and it might not hook you for the first 5 episodes, but I think that this show has done a really good job of building a solid foundation for the future seasons of this show if it does get renewed for more seasons. The ending of the show, the last 2 episodes, I'm not going to give any spoilers yet, but I think the last 2 episodes of the show make it the whole season worth it. Everything that happened before those last 2 episodes makes it so good because it's built up and set up so well. You didn't even realize it. The things that happen in the show are so interesting and they're cool, but you know, it might not be for everyone in the beginning. And that's why I heard a lot of people complaining about, you know, the first episode not being interesting. I can understand that. It is a little bit of a slow burn, and the idea is unique, but it does take some, you know, shonen anime type of traits, if that's a good way to say it. It does give me Hunter x Hunter vibes too. Kun reminds me a lot of Killua. Bam obviously being Gon. Hunter x Hunter is a great show, but I did get a little bit of a sense of, you know, similarity, which isn't a bad thing at all. But some people might say that it's too similar to Hunter x Hunter. I can't get into it. But I personally fell in love with this show. I'd say, you know, I was thoroughly enjoying it, but then the last 2 episodes hit, and that was when I realized that I really loved this show, and that's why I decided to read the webtoon. The animation is amazing. The character designs are extremely unique, and it almost looks like a moving comic, like a moving webtoon. You know, the typical talking one-on-one scenes are animated really well, but the action scenes, they're animated well, but they're not extremely flashy or anything. It's not like the best animation I've ever seen. It is very good, but you know, during combat, you know, it gets the job done in my personal opinion, but I still think it looks great, but it's not the best that I've seen. And I think only in the further seasons, it's only gonna get better and better. I mean, I think it's gonna get renewed for a 2nd season, honestly. The music is really interesting and diverse in the show because sometimes they'll play this like EDM, like dubstep, like really it's cool, like it sounds dope, but this like EDM dubstep type of sound, like Skrillex or Deadmau5, like during a combat scene, and then during like a really epic dramatic scene, it'll play these like dramatic bells and this choir and this drum, very like tribal but almost like angelic in a sense during those scenes. So like that's a really big comparison between the two. I think that they blend well together. The show is so unique and interesting. Like the vibes that you get from it aren't anything you'll see in another show right now. The characters are really well fleshed out, and when they're talking about things they're going to do or a plan that they might have, you know, you can see them possibly falling back and going back on their word, or fulfilling their word. There can be, you know, certain character decisions that are gonna piss you the fuck off, and there are certainly character decisions that pissed me off, but we'll get to that in the spoiler section of the video. But, you know, the characters' decisions that they make, you understand them. piss you off, but it's like, you're a cowardly person. This is how I would expect a cowardly person to act. It still gets me angry, but it makes sense. I think it's really good at making you feel connected to these people and what they want, because they do go into like why each character is climbing the tower and what they want, what their desire is, and you can empathize with them, and they're really interesting backstories, and seeing how they mix and clash together and how things are connected together, I think is really good writing. And I think the show takes its time with letting you really get to know these people, getting attached to them and seeing things from their point of view. You might not like them at first, but you can at least, you know, recognize them. You can at least see, okay, this is who this is. I'm not gonna forget who this is and why they did what they did. And then they take that information and like spin it on the head, and it's like, okay, now I like this character, you know. So it's good at making you go from hating a character to loving a character, and loving a character to hating a character, if that makes any sense. But all in all, that's all I'll say in the non-spoiler section of the video. If you haven't seen the show yet, I definitely recommend you watch it and then come back to this, and then you can see the spoiler discussion talk that I'll talk about some things in the show. So, if you're still here, that means you've seen the show and you're here for the spoiler talk. So I just gotta say, Rachel is the worst fucking character in the world for pushing Bam off of that you know, orb that they were on, and just sending him to his death. She had no idea that, you know, she knew that was going to kill him and he would die, and she said, you know what, I'm just gonna be a star in your place. And she doesn't deserve anything. She doesn't deserve any of it, you know. It's like, I'm just gonna push you off. Why? Because I want to, because I just want to be a star and you have everything that I have. She's so fucking envious, man. It's terrible. And you know, like when Ho like backstabbed Rachel in the back literally and said, I always hated you, Bam, we get a preview of that, of someone hating Bam just because he is talented and just because he, you know, has this natural ability, and people seem to just naturally flock to him. So we get to see that from more than one character perspective, which is interesting, because it could totally lead the way down the line for other villains' motivations for coming at certain characters. It's like, I literally hate you because I'm jealous of you. That's like kind of rare. Like, I haven't seen a show in a while where a villain has been a villain just because they're fucking jealous of the main person, you know? Like, Rachel really, what Rachel did and pushing Bam off really made me love this show. And it made me love, you know, the middle section of it, where it kind of felt like you didn't really know where the show was going. Like, if it was just going to be games. It's not just games. Like, it's way more than that now. It's way more than just like the games and passing the test to get into the tower. It's now about betrayal and revenge and hatred towards this person. We don't know what Bam's feeling at the end of season 1 towards Rachel, but he only needs to know why. Like, why did she push me off? You know, and the fact that he's gonna get trained by Hwaryun, I think, the red-haired lady with the eye patch, that's gonna lead to some super interesting stuff in the later seasons. And then the team that is currently going to help Rachel climb the tower, how they're going to get fleshed out is going to be interesting as well, knowing that us, the audience, knowing that Rachel lied. They don't know that Rachel lied. So I do know because I've read the webcomic, but I wonder what parts of it they're going to explore, you know, with the team and with Kun, and what they're going to do with Rachel and what's going to happen with Bam. But that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. Just the Rachel shit I just had to rant about a little bit. But thank you guys for watching. What did you think about Tower of God? Did you watch it? Did you like it? Are you reading the webtoon? I certainly am, and I'm definitely going to make a video about it, but I think I want to finish it and catch up before I make that video. But let me know what you guys think of Tower of God. If you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Please be safe.